Is Brandin Cooks washed? He was released today by the New Orleans Saints. I imagine he's looking to go to a contender, but in today's video, guys, I'm going to make the case for why he should be on this team. Y'all let me know your thoughts in the comments. Be sure to smash that like, hype, subscribe, all those things. Also, this video is brought to you by Kalshi. Use the code DTB for a $10 bonus once you get trading. We're going to take a look at our AFC odds later on to go to the Super Bowl, which is exciting. But let's go ahead and get into the news, guys. Brandin Cooks has been released. Ian Rappaport reporting this, and there's been a lot of discussion on should we bring Brandin Cooks in. Now, ideally, what I would want is to bring him in on the practice squad. I think that that's perfect. However, there might be some teams looking to sign him to the 53, and so in today's video, I'm going to be making the case for why we should sign him to the active 53. Let's go ahead and get into some of the stats, man, with Brandin Cooks. Well, first off, I'll say this. I watched every single reception that he's had this year with New Orleans. There are a couple things that I've noticed about him. One, okay, he's not taking the top off the defense like he used to, okay? Using him on a lot of underneath stuff, some curl routes, sit-down routes, you know, the occasional comeback and the occasional post he can still come down with, which is great. So not necessarily somebody who's going to take, for instance, Troy Franklin's role on the team. That's just not what I'm talking about. But somebody who can provide depth. Let's say Troy Franklin or Marvin Mims goes down. Where do you go? Do you want to go with Michael Bandy or Brandin Cooks if Marvin Mims goes down? I still think you could go with you should go with Brandin Cooks. But there are a couple things that I really still like about Brandin Cooks' game. We'll share this right here. First and foremost, being the man still doesn't drop the ball. Okay? Does not drop the ball. Guys, look at this. On this 24 targets he had so far this year, 19 receptions, 0 drops. I believe if you add up his targets for the last 3 seasons, 163, I want to say, total targets. The past 3 seasons, he has 1 drop. Okay, guys, he hasn't dropped a pass since 2023, as you can see right here. Now, he did have 6 drops. He did struggle with drops earlier on in his career, right? And actually through the majority of them. But the drop percentage since 2023 has been very low. And yes, only 24 targets this year. But, I mean, he got a handful last year as a depth receiver, 50 targets, and then 89 the year prior to that. That is something to keep note of, man. We have had issues holding on to the ball, no doubt about it. And when we take a look at Troy Franklin, for instance, I think he's a good example right now. Drop rate, it needs to be better, man. It is still, I'm on the wrong thing right here. But yeah, when you look at the drop rate this year, it's still at 11.5, man. You got to get that thing under 10%. You got to get that thing into single digits. Now, last year, he was at 11.8. So right now, he is trending in the right direction, but it's still not where it needs to be. This team, not just Troy Franklin, this team overall drops a ton of passes. I think Troy Franklin is one of the league leaders in drop passes because he's also leading the team in targets. But this is a team, the Denver Broncos, that are second in the NFL going into the Chiefs game with dropped catches. And I would assume that they're still there. Only the Jacksonville Jaguars have more drop passes. And so, yes, Brandin Cooks, he's not getting the separation that he used to have. But his hands are looking great, man. He's still coming down with tough catches. And let's say you look at the contested catch rate here. 42.3 for Troy Franklin on this year. Last year, this is where he's improving. He was at 16.7. That's great. But if we go back to Brandin Cooks and his contested catch rate, this year, he's at 89.9%. Granted, 2024, it wasn't good at all at 28.6. But in 2023 and 2022, being a smaller wide receiver at 5'10", 5'11", over 50% in 2022 at 55, and 2023 at 50% overall. This is something to where, again, I think that he can bring some more dependable hands. And I would very much welcome that. But guys, am I bringing in Brandin Cooks right now to be a starter on this team? No. Ideally, again, I would love to bring him in on the practice squad, but I just don't know if that's the case. If you do need to sign him to the 53, there could be some guys that we let go of that could create an opportunity for him to be on the roster. Like maybe you move on from Calvin Throckmorton and put him back on the practice squad, or somebody like Jordan Jackson you move off of, okay, and bring him to the practice squad, or cut Garrett Wallow again. I think you can get away with some of those things. But if we have an injury to Marvin Mims, I don't want to see Michael Bandy back out there again. That's just me. Now, if Troy Franklin gets hurt, yes, Brandin Cooks could, I guess, step into that role to some extent. But again, I don't know if he has the top end speed to really be that field stretcher that Troy Franklin has been. Shout out to my friend Marky Sports. Go subscribe to him. We had this discussion on Discord this morning. He's like, dude, if Troy Franklin goes down, you don't want Brandin Cooks stepping into that role. You're absolutely right. You want, in all seriousness, A.T. Perry stepping into this role. Dude, 6'3". I thought he was more like 6'5". But he comes down with contested catches, and his reception percentage on the deep ball is fantastic. Now, again, small sample size from a couple years ago, caught 5 of 6 targets for 156 yards and 2 touchdowns. He got 5 of 8 from over 10 yards for 78 yards and 2 touchdowns. His contested catch rate was fantastic. I think it was around 60%, close to 70%. Let me see here. But if you want to juxtapose this with Troy Franklin, dude, he still cannot catch the deep ball. His reception percentage on the deep ball right now is 19%. Some of that is from Bo Nix. Sure. But 4 of 21, dude, it's just unacceptable. He needs to be better than that. Reception percentage in the intermediate game at 52.4, that's gotten better. But the contested catch rate is something that still needs to improve. It's at 43% right now, or 48.6. No. It is at 43% right now. With A.T. Perry, his contested catch rate throughout his career, 66.7. Now, again, small sample size, but I would like to see what A.T. Perry can do on this roster. And I'm not saying you need to elevate him to the 53. Clearly, nobody wants him on their active roster at this point, right? But if you get into the playoffs and you got somebody go down, I want somebody with veteran playoff experience and dependable hands. That is Brandin Cooks. He already knows the offense. But yeah, I don't see him being somebody that immediately comes in here and gets snaps over Troy Franklin or Marvin Mims. No way. And honestly, shout out to Let's Talk Broncos. Coach Pat talking about how last night A.T. Perry does deserve an opportunity to prove that he can be a better and more consistent deep ball threat than Troy Franklin. I'm not saying take Troy Franklin off the field entirely, but you got some athletic speedsters on the team that we still haven't seen what they can do. So y'all let me know in the comments, man. What do you think about A.T. Perry? Guys, I'm having fun with this, with Kalshi as well, because, man, I'm feeling good about this Denver Broncos offense, or this defense, with, the offense doing enough. But I'm going to put $3 here on the Broncos to win the AFC, baby. That's going to be a beautiful thing. Use my code, DTB. Get yourself a $10 bonus once you start trading. It's nice. Like, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts. You want Brandin Cooks here? I say yes.